Hey everyone, John deBary here, and we're here today with a special Dog Days of Summer edition of Drink What You Want, and it is super exciting to me because I actually was sent out into the world to investigate a drink that I had never heard of before, and I learned so much about myself, about drinks, about the world, and I can't wait to share with you. And so this drink is called the Rocket Fuel. It is, the birthplace of the Rocket Fuel is a bar on Fire Island called CJ's. And this drink is actually made all over Fire Island. I have friends who used to work in Fire Island when they were in high school, and they definitely guarantee that this is a super real drink. I had never heard of it, but it's kind of right up my alley because it involves pineapples, amaretto, and blenders, which if you've watched any of my videos, basically that's all I talk about, so it's just very much on brand for me. And I got to go to Fire Island for work and drink cocktails, and what better way to spend my time could I possibly ask for? So in my research, I found the recipe for the original Rocket Fuel. I tasted about 4 when I was there. And so I have a pretty good sense of what the classic recipe is. I added a few things to it, but basically one thing to it that makes it a little bit more cocktail-y, but otherwise it's very true to the original. To me, what makes the Rocket Fuel so great is Coco Lopez, which is not like super easy to find, but it's the most delicious thing. I love coconut, has this amazing texture. It's like basically the ingredient if you're making a pina colada or any coconut-based cocktail. It's just so good. It's almost like frosting, basically. It's insane. And then the second key ingredient, amaretto liqueur, which is made from like bitter almonds. I've used it before already in the past year. I don't know why I'm so drawn to amaretto cocktails, but here we are. And then 151 rum, very dangerous for fire safety, but it's very, very delicious and adds a lot of like heat literally to your cocktail. And then my special edition is nothing super fancy, but I think it adds a nice little bite is Angostura bitters. Complements the amaretto really nicely and just gives it a little bit of complexity and balances out some of the sweetness from the other ingredients. And then last but certainly not least, the pineapple, because this is a pineapple channel apparently. The first step in juicing any pineapple is to remove the top. And if you've been watching my channel faithfully, you'll know you can turn this into a real whole pineapple plant. Grow pineapple plants, tag me. I'd love to see your plants. They are really fun. They probably won't give you pineapple fruit, but they're really nice house plants. They have like a cool little personality. And you notice that pineapples are started off golden in the bottom and they get kind of greener at the top. This is because pineapples ripen from the bottom. This is where they grow out of the plant. And you want to be sure to incorporate every part of the ripeness of the pineapple in your juice. So if you're not juicing an entire pineapple, you want to cut it lengthwise, or lengthwise this way, so you're getting the less ripe and the more ripe parts balance in your juice. But if, like me, you're juicing the entire thing all in one go, it doesn't matter. But just fun fact about pineapples. And you can even almost see like the difference in color between these two. Anyway, it's more than you'll need to know about pineapples in your entire life, but here we are. Now we're gonna juice using a real juicer. I'm so excited. You ready? Look at that. How could you make a drink without pineapple juice? Unless you're allergic, which one of my friends is, so don't do that. And even though I'm not using my own janky juicing setup that I have at home, we're still using a blender, so you can never escape the blender. So you'll notice if you read the recipe, which is available on food52.com, is that this drink serves about 3, maybe 4, depending on how your appetite is. And the reason why is because I think it's just more fun to make fun, big drinks for a lot of people, but also in a blender physically, if you have too little amount of stuff, the blades don't actually work, so you just have to make a bigger drink. So I have a scaled up 4-person recipe, and I think that's pretty much like, I don't know if you want them to dial it back a little bit, you could, but like, come on, like you're going through all this trouble anyway. You might as well make a bunch of drinks. So to start, we are going just to build everything as if we would normally like in a usual cocktail shaker. So you start with the smallest ingredient, which is the bitters. I do about 4 dashes. Doesn't need to be overly exact. Again, we're going to throw in so much sugar and juice and stuff that it's just like very forgiving. And we're doing 4 ounces of amaretto liqueur. And you'll notice I'm not using a jigger, I'm using a 1/4 cup because 1/4 cup and 2 ounces are the same thing. So very easy to measure. 4 ounces. And then we're doing 6 ounces of our pineapple juice. And then this is it. Hide your cats because they'll come running when they hear this. You're supposed to shake it before you open it up. I just forgot to do it. So just give it a little stir to even it out. But honestly, you're using most of the cans, so it's gonna end up in there one way or the other. So yeah, 6 ounces of Coco Lopez. And like, honestly, I haven't found another product that's even close to this. So like, don't try to outsmart it. I think you can get it online. It's pretty easy to find. No substitute. And then we have 6 cups of ice, that's it. And you don't need like fanciful ice. You can use anything you have lying around. You can kind of hear it, like if it's chunky still, like 10 seconds, 20 seconds is usually enough, so. And now the fun part. This wasn't even the fun part. The fun part is pouring your drink. And then you're gonna give yourself like an ounce-ish, like a splash of 151 over the top, just to give you that nice little differential. And your drink is done. Now you just need to garnish it. When I was in Fire Island, I received a wide variety of garnishes from none to a cherry and an orange. So I'm gonna take that even further. I'm gonna do an orange, a cherry, an umbrella, a pineapple leaf, and a bubble tea straw. So let's just get cracking. I love to use Luxardo cherries. You know, they're kind of like the best thing ever. But I think for today, we're gonna use like the bad cherries. Because you're gonna give yourself a nice little orange, beautiful little orange wedge and a cherry. And then you take a cocktail umbrella. This is actually like really vitally important to the flavor. If you don't have an umbrella, it won't taste the same. I'm only a little bit joking. I'm gonna find a nice pineapple leaf to go along with it. So the key with this drink, so why would you put a float of really high proof rum on the top as opposed to just mixing it in? There's a few reasons for that. If you have like a frozen drink and the alcohol content's too high, then it actually becomes like too liquidy when you like mix it all with the ice. I know this from years of making slushies, but that's probably not the main reason. I think the reason is that you wanna like actually have the rum sort of slowly float down into the drink. So when you first have it, it's like kind of sweet, it's creamy, it's richer. And then as you drink it, as the ice there's ice is still melting in there, as it gets a little bit more watered down, then the strength of the rum like comes back and sort of like, it's like, hey. That's my little nerdy entry into why the float is there. I think also just visually is interesting, but enjoy. So you can get the recipe at foodfuture.com. I hope you will leave a comment telling me how you make your rocket fuel. Leave a like, subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, register to vote, and come back next month. Bye. Oh.
You want the door closed?
I didn't touch it.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it again.